Hey world, what's going on? It's Samuel Rodney back at you again with another episode of Be Inspired Podcast where we're inspiring you to live the abundant life you deserve. So I got another awesome guest on the line and it's Bale from St. Croix. We met in St. Croix. Fun fact about us, we drove in Tantan tours together. That's when I first met him. And man, that has been an experience driving up those hills, getting to the tide pools. If you ever been to St. Croix, the tide pools is one of the places that is a sight to see. So if you've never been there, definitely check it out. So we're going to get into all of that and everything else. But Bale is a fitness calisthenic entrepreneur. So
Yes,
so
sir.
we're gonna get to it. But before we get started, I want to thank all my subscribers, all my followers. Thank you all for joining us, subscribing, commenting, liking. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for all the love, and we're gonna continue growing. I want to shout out real quick Creative Dream Collective. They create our flyers, they create our shirts, our designs. So thank you for her. If you want your designs or want any logo or anything made, she's super dope at it. Go ahead and click the link in the bio for it. All right. So let's get started. Bali, what's going on? Do you remember
So
that? Tantan Tours?
now that you say it, I do. Yes, that was a missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we
oh man, I love driving for Tantan tours. It was
man.
a thrilling job, heart
Yeah.
pounding. Oh gosh,
Because we just used to take all the tourists around the island and be able to just teach them about our island. So that was an awesome experience. But you know something I never told anybody that happened to me?
oh yeah,
One thing happened to me when Wave was training me. You know, like, I don't know if you remember, it's one hill that when you go around the corner, it's like a cliff that you could go off of, right?
a few
I
of
don't know
them,
if
yeah.
you, but when Wave was training me, I had lost control of the Jeep and I almost went over that hill. It
You up
was,
top of the tide pools.
yeah. So it was a crazy moment, but I just thought I'd share that because I'd never shared it before. But you're the first person I'm telling. Now the world knows,
Listen,
but
okay. I have my moments in Tantan tours too. Like one of the nine lives. So many yeah,
do you
right
experience
of them.
something like that too?
Well, yes. I mean, not quite. I never actually almost rolled off of the cliff, but driving up from the tide pools.
Okay.
Sometimes the Jeeps will stall out, and then you have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It's like a mission. It becomes a
Yeah.
mission. But anyhow, another story.
Yeah. Another story for another time. I wanted to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into fitness.
Wow, the long version or the short version?
Sorry, person.
Well, okay. In a nutshell, I mean, I've been an athlete most of my life, starting soccer as a youth.
Yeah.
And then I got into yoga in my early teens, and then in my early 20s, I actually studied yoga. And those are the people who know me from St. Croix. I had the yoga studio where I was very involved with yoga, fitness, health, and wellness. And then later on, after the studio at St. Croix, living in New York, I continued my education in fitness, yoga, Ayurvedic cooking, and then eventually coming here to Florida, got certified as a personal trainer. And I also discovered calisthenics, which ignited a huge passion for me over the last 3 to 4 years. Yes.
So how was it? I know like back in the day when you played soccer and
Mm.
you also was growing up, how was it being able to do all of that? What was your experience like being from a
What do you
little
mean? Well, okay. From which perspective? From the then perspective or a now perspective?
from now perspective?
I mean, it's an interesting question. I don't feel like necessarily that the place where I come from defines me in the
Yeah.
sense that, I'm just because I'm from there or, humble beginnings, right? Up in the rainforest, just like, but I think it makes me look back on all of those experiences with, endearment and understanding because I think that to achieve anything, you have to have a sense of humility, a sense of understanding, a sense of going through the process.
Yeah.
And I think that the island life and growing up in the rainforest on St. Croix and just the island culture in some ways was a testament to that. And then for me as a young adult, an adult, taking that a step further and, getting out of the island and going, up to New York and down here to Florida now and having these different experiences, I think that the connection is that being from the islands, it taught me never to stop growing, never to stop learning. That
Yeah.
no matter how full you think your cup is, because your cup is never full.
Yeah.
If you're pouring like you're supposed to into other cups,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yes,
That's funny because that just reminded me of meme or a video that people was pouring into other people's cup to help them get
mm,
full, grow up, and there was a cup. So they're going down the line filling up all the different cups, and there was
mm,
one that didn't want to forget his cup filled. So he's small, and everybody else was growing up, and he's been seeing it, but
mm,
never decided to open up to be
mm.
filled. So
Yes,
it's funny.
important.
Yeah, you
Yes,
gotta be open. You gotta be willing to share and give more because once you give more, it comes back to you.
right, exactly.
So, your journey to fitness, I know we talked a little bit about your island life. So, your journey to fitness, what has been the most exciting experience so far? I know recently you did a competition.
I would say that's amongst the highlight. This year, 2025, past month on the 12th, I did the community calisthenics pull-up jam. It was hosted by Chris Heria. Anybody who knows calisthenics or fitness in Miami will know the name Chris Heria. And he was the host. Amazing event. Has so many amazing local calisthenic athletes as well as some international huge names. And so it was just an amazing event. And it's definitely one of the biggest highlights because it was the second year that I participated. And it was a super amazing just to see the community, to see the energy, to be motivated, to inspire, to share that with the younger athletes. And then also, of course, to continue to get inspired myself and to continue to grow.
So, did you get a place in it or what's your
No,
yeah,
no place. Well, what I say, okay, no place. I have to explain this one because
yes.
listen, there was over 20 athletes, and I participated in two competitions. One was the freestyle, one was the weighted pull-up competition, 45-pound pull-ups and freestyle. I hit 19 weighted pull-ups. The winner got about 30 or so.
Okay.
There's some beasts out here. All right. And then for the freestyle competition, there was about 20 or so participants because it was a very fast local competition. Only the top three place. Everyone below the top three didn't even place, didn't get a number. So it was you're either the top three or you're below that and you don't get a sorted number. Yeah, it's tough out there.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I appreciate that because now, like in schools and how they train our children, which neither here nor there. Back in the day, it was first, second, and third place, you know. But now
Hmm.
everybody's getting participation medals, and you can't like,
When yeah,
yeah. So
we don't got time for that. We don't got time for that. I know.
yeah, now it's just like about hard work. If you did it, you got it. You know, you're
Right,
rewarded. So
right.
I like that.
Also, one note I gotta say is that the
Uh-huh.
number one, the one who first place was the world champion of calisthenics, the
Wow.
actual world champion. I mean, his name is Tony Goss. I hope I said that right. Tony Goss. He's a Mexican, I believe, and he amazing four-time world champion in calisthenics. And so I think it was just an honor to even say that I was in the same competition with him.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I was in competition with him, but I was in the competition with
Yeah. I mean, too, what did you talk to him? Like, what kind of conversation did you had?
I did well. I didn't have a long conversation. I did get a photograph, which
Okay.
I will share with you. Perhaps I mean you can add it to that. A short conversation, but it was just like one of the guys. Funny story. He wore a disguise when he participated in the competition, so he had a fake name and he wore a disguise because I mean some people would have known who he was, and so he came with some fake name. I don't remember what it was, Jose or something like that. And he had a wig and a mustache and the glasses. And I'm like, who is that guy? This guy clearly has a fake mustache on. And he gets on the bars and he's like, looks like some Joe Smo. And he's just like, okay, amazing. You know what I'm saying? So afterwards, everyone, knew who he was. But it was funny. It was funny. But
So
yeah,
that's an awesome experience because not every day we get to compete with the people we kind of look up to or know, you know? So
right.
that's pretty dope that you got that experience.
Thank you.
So tell me, what keeps driving you to pursue success?
I'll say sometimes I'm gonna say I joke and I'm gonna be serious, right? Sometimes I feel like there's a part of me that's the part of me that says you're good enough and to stop and to relax. And that part of me is broken. So I never feel like okay, I can rest now,
Yeah.
proverbial. But I think going back to the island life and my upbringing and my family, I think that the way that I was raised kind of, I could say, programmed me in a way to always try to be better. I was homeschooled. I was never in the environment with the rest of my peers. And so I had my siblings, but I was always in my own grade at my own level. And so in calisthenics and fitness, we like to say, my only competition is me and the person that I was yesterday. And I think that we can look at other people outside of ourselves and get and be inspired, share inspiration and receive inspiration. But at the end of the day, when you truly understand that it's like a Bruce Lee me against me competition, you take the ego out of it and you constantly try to make, you're getting the inspiration. Is everything okay? Yeah, you're getting the inspiration. And then yeah, and I think that's a huge driving force for me is that every time I achieve a new skill or a new level of strength or something that I never was able to do before, my program is now okay, what's next? All right, I learned this. All right, I'm gonna spend time training and practicing this, but at the same time I'm looking at okay, what's the next thing? What's
Yeah.
the next limit that I'm gonna push myself to? And yeah, that's one of the, it's a long explanation. And I think that when I was younger, I was always very idealistic. And so I would look at the way the world treated me as a young black man, and it all didn't always match. I wouldn't say didn't always. 100%, 90% of the time, didn't match who I was. It didn't match who I was and who I am. And so I made it in my heart, my mind. I said, hey, I'm going to make it my mission to help to redefine what it is and the image and the perception of this image of the black man. We
Yeah.
can extend that to say all men, but I can only speak for my demographic. And I think that that is a driving force to be the best that I can be, to continue to improve myself physically, mentally, morally, you know, just to set an example and to set in place something that other younger generations can look towards as a positive example.
I also like what you said about being able to every day get better and think what's next. Because if we don't have a goal of getting better or going to the next level, when we get to
Mm,
that goal that we have, we're gonna just stop. Everything is gonna start slowly diminishing. So
yes,
it's good that you have that mindset that, all right, I made it here. Where do I go next? Because this is good, but now I gotta go somewhere else. So I like what you said
absolutely.
because
Thank
that's
you.
important, on the journey to success, even just
Hmm.
every time getting better. Once you hit a goal, don't stop. Figure out where you want to go next.
Right.
So tell me something. Say that someone wants to become a calisthenics person or get into the fitness arena. What would you tell them step by step what to do?
I would say the first thing, is to determine their why or their reason for what and why they want to do it. And I think that's important because that's going to be a huge determining factor of whether they continue or not. Because if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you might not have the perseverance and the tenacity to get where you want to go. And I think that a lot of times I have, met people who will say, "Hey, excuse me, how long is it going to take me to get a six pack? How long is it going to take me to get to do that there what you're doing?" I always tell them the same answer. You have to take the time out of it. You have to it's good to be goal oriented, but like you said, the problem with that is that when you okay, imagine you're the guy now, you have the perfect body, you got the six pack, you have the muscles. Now what? You're gonna stop, you're gonna go drink and party and have a good time, and you're not gonna maintain that. And so I let people know, like, no, you have to fall in love with the journey. You have to make the daily journey. You have to make gaining 1% of improvement every day the goal, not the goal. And so because when you make the goal and you hit the goal, then what?
Yeah.
And so I would ask them to, determine your why and then really find a way to get committed. If you have challenges with staying committed to program, I always recommend tidbits, teaspoon, better to do 2 days a week and do it every 2 days a week than to try to do three and four and five and then fail and quit.
Yeah.
And so you can build intensity with repetition. What I'm saying? You have to make it your habit, but we have to change the way the most important thing is the why and how you're gonna stay committed to the journey that's gonna get you to
Yeah. Nice.
the
Yeah,
journey to go.
because
Yeah.
it's interesting because sometimes we look at the bigger goal and not realize that we could just take the small steps first, you know? Like, for example, me and my wife, we were meal prepping for almost a year,
Mm-hmm.
going on 2 years, right? But then we eventually add in smoothies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're doing meal prepping and smoothies, but it didn't start off like that. We started with one, we got consistent, and like you said, just start small, two a days, and then build consistency with it, and then continue adding on to get to where
Exactly.
you go. So I like that. What would you say has been the most challenging part of becoming a calisthenic instructor?
Think one of the biggest challenges I had was when I actually got my personal trainer certificate, when I actually went through school and got the certificate. And I enjoyed the learning process. I enjoyed everything. But I think the reason why it was a challenge was because I genuinely have a passion for calisthenics and being on the bars and on the field. And when I was studying, I had to spend a lot of time studying and not working out like I like to.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it became this, oh, why am I studying when I want to just go work out? Why am I even doing this? But in the end, I persevered and I'm glad I did. And I would recommend that anyone, it's good to have the textbook education.
Yeah.
It's good to also have the practical experience. You can't just have the textbook education and have a big belly and don't work out yourself and think you know everything either.
Mhm.
But, you know, in yoga practice, they say, you have practice and theory. You need the theory, but you need the practice as well, because guess what? You learn things through the practice that's going to either validate or disprove theories.
Nice.
So you need the balance of both. So yeah, it was hard for me to go through the process of studying, but once I got through it, I got right back on track and excelled, right back at it. And that's the passion, the perseverance. My fire had to go underground a little bit and smother, but then right back.
Yeah. It's part of the journey, you know?
Hmm.
So, do you sometimes look at yourself and be like, man, I can't believe I got a six pack and I look this ripped?
Nope, 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 ever, never. No, I look at myself and I say, you can do better.
I
Who
like
do you
it.
think you are? You ain't shit. No, 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 I don't say that. I ain't that demeaning. No, I love myself. I am the shit. No, but it's funny you to ask me that question because a lot of times I feel like I know so many people in the community here in Florida. And, when people see the things that I can do, I mean, I know I'm on the level of exceptional, like a superhuman ability, superhuman type strength.
Yes.
I say that with all humility. I know that there are other individuals out there who are on the grind, who are on the practice, but I am me, I'm the only one. And so I know what I'm capable of and I see what I'm doing. And I see also, I don't know what the numbers would be, but I remember looking up like how many people can do a one arm pull up. And I think it's like 1 in 100,000 or one in some huge number. And so based on out of a fraction of a tenth of a percent of whatever demographic you want to put me in, but I know that. And so, but the way that it's almost like I don't like, how do I put it? Like I'm an Aries, I'll say that I'm a fire sign. So yes, I do like attention, but at the same time, when I'm in my practice, like I go out there and I work out and there's a bunch of guys working out and there are guys who I'm cool with and I'll give them advice. But once I'm in my practice, it's like, I don't want my headspace to be messed with. I'm focusing, I'm doing my thing. I'll be cool with people. But yeah, and what remind me the root of the question you're asking just now, because I dived out.
No worries, you're good. I asked, like, do you look at yourself sometimes and wonder, like, how did you get there?
Oh,
You
Marvel. Yes.
yeah.
Marvel. That's the question. Yeah. Yeah. In a sense, okay, I will say I more will marvel at the skills that I've been able to achieve
Yeah, man.
than the appearance of the physical, right? Because I don't believe it or not, I don't working out, it was never my goal or my intention to create a ripped chisel body. That wasn't like I work out every day because I want to look a certain way. It
Yeah.
was a passion driven pursuit that was wow. I saw this guy doing a human flag, and I think I'll tell you a short story because when I first moved here is how I got into calisthenics. I was doing some modeling in New York City, and when I came here, I went on Craigslist, saw an ad for a photo shoot that they were paying $100 for some fitness people to go to a park in Plantation. It was a new setup, and so I went there and I met a couple of other athletes. I was new here at the time, and I saw this guy doing a human flag, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind, and I was like, "Oh my God! Like, I want to learn how to do this." And that was just the first. And after that, of course, I would meet and see other people and other types of skills. And I'll never forget from that time, I was working full time every day after work. I would work like 8 to 4, 4:30. I'm on the beach working out for 2 hours. 4:30, I'm on the beach working out for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? And the first time that I worked out on the beach here, the Fort Lauderdale beach by the basketball court there, man, I couldn't do a single muscle up. I couldn't do one single muscle up. I trained myself to get to my first muscle up on that beach, and and now the rest is history. And so for me, it's I love the environment of being so inspired, and that's what drives me. And I love my abs. I love my six pack. Sometimes I have to wash laundry on them. No, but no, it's more about. I like to say it's like a pursuit of the spirit.
Yeah.
If you ever seen what's that movie called? Point Break.
I
Point
n-
Break. You know what I'm talking about?
no, I never
So
seen, but I'm gonna look into it.
but it's like a feeling. It's like a feeling. But anyway, in that movie, they were athletes and they were doing all of these great ordeals. But the idea was that they were somehow attaining spiritual enlightenment through these great athletic feats.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what's happening, but what I'm saying is that in yoga, which I study as well, there's something about being able to, when you do all the different yoga postures, it's not just about the physical body. If you look at the body as a Rubik's Cube, and the more different positions you can access in the body is the more mental, spiritual positions you can access as well. And so when you think about, proprioception, your awareness of yourself, your body in space. People who exercise in calisthenics have naturally, by practice, an increased spatial awareness because you have to work with coordination of your entire body in space, which everyone does,
Yeah.
but not to the level of the calisthenic practice.
Right. So, how did you come to that? Because that sounds very interesting. What allowed you to become aware of that?
Aware of the idea of proprioception,
Yes.
or well, I would say I can't pinpoint it to one, but through my yoga education and my personal trainer education, and then my own personal practice and experience, it's something I would say that is known, but not completely known by the common everyday person. So, like in yoga, basically you visualize, you start to visualize three-dimensional space and the access. You have up, down, left, right, forward, and back. You have three accesses. And so any yoga posture, anything that you do, you can do it. You can do it standing up. You can do it on the side. So when you think about that, right, this is similar in calisthenics. It all kind of comes together, right? So
Yeah.
you spin in the air, you do a 360. Now you're working on the talking about planes. In fitness, we talk about the planes. You have the transversal plane, you have the sagittal plane, and you have the frontal plane, right? And so that's the same thing we're talking about. And so I guess I like to say I've become somewhat of a mad scientist of fitness and of and of I don't know how yoga, calisthenics, physical expression, however we want to call it, because there's so many names that we can call it, but at the end of the day, it all is one. It's just how we link the pieces together.
Yeah. So it's interesting about that because it's also going back to like being aware of, man, if you guys haven't seen this guy, go ahead and check out his Facebook page and see the backflips and things that he be doing on his page.
Yeah, at this point, I have no credibility until they see that, right? They're like, "What is
Like,
this guy talking about?"
how did you even come up with, I got all this, I got here, let me go ahead and make it interested and do a backflip on the bar and catch the bar? Like, what was the thought process that went into that?
Well, the truth is, I mean, nothing is new under the sun. And as much as I would like to take credit for inventing that move,
Yeah.
I didn't invent it. So
Okay.
I learned that move, like I said, every time I learn a new move, I'm in a group of, I would say, the top tier, athletes, a community group. I train with this group, once, twice a week in Miami. And we have a couple other meetups. And, there are so many amazing individuals. Some I call them my sensei. They're better than me and I learn from them. And there are other individuals who are less advanced in the process and they're out there learning too. And I would say that, yeah, it's one of the things that I love about the calisthenics community is that, I mean, in the beginning, I'm not saying like that you put in the work and the community will, they'll welcome you in with open arms. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been
Mhm.
putting in the work and I've been able to learn and share and grow. And that's where I learned those new moves, seeing these guys doing this. It's called the shrimp flip. The one you're talking about where I
Yeah.
backflip off the bar and catch the bar, it's called the shrimp flip. So, that was the second to last new move that I did. So I got a new move since then. There was the 360, the shrimp flip. Then I did the reverse grip 360, which is another one. So
Nice.
if you know, you know.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you have to look at
yeah.
my page.
Yeah, definitely go check that out, man. And then if you need like training and you were in South Florida, or do you do online training too?
I do have an online training platform. Right now, I've been kind of in between online and in-person personal training. I have a lot of in-person personal training clients, which I love doing in-person personal training. Of course, there's a limit to that. While supply lasts, I do my in-person. I am working on building out my online personal training
Yeah.
sessions. So please inquire about that. If you are just like gung ho about training online with me, let me know. But that's something I'm definitely working on building out right now.
Okay. So we talked about the calisthenics and the muscles part of it growing,
Mm,
but have this factor, nutrition. What
mm.
advice or what tips you could give about nutrition when it comes to working out?
So that's a very important question. And I would say I got to start from the beginning, just with a little background, because
Yeah.
I am a chef and I study nutrition. And so that is a big part of my foundation. And so I think getting a general understanding of nutrition. I study Ayurveda, which helps people understand their body types, whether you're Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the air, fire, or water elements, so that you can learn how to select the best foods for your specific body type and the best lifestyle habits and practices to support your state of balance. Now, not everyone has the same constitution or body type, and so the things that might be better for me might not be best for you, and vice versa with different people.
Wow. No, I never heard that. You have to different what explain how that works.
So the practice is called Ayurveda.
Ayurveda.
So Ayurveda, Ayurveda, Veda, Veda. And so this is related to yoga. And as a chef, I studied Ayurvedic cooking. I'm not an Ayurvedic practitioner, but I have worked with Ayurvedic practitioners as support, helping people, guiding them with their nutrition, with food preparation, and with selecting the right foods for your body type. So the foundation of the Ayurveda is understanding the elements and understanding of the five elements, which is ether, air, water, fire, and earth. And then out of the five elements, each person has basically all people have all the five elements within our makeup. But depending on which elements are most dominant in your physiology, it'll determine whether you're dominant in the air, dominant in the fire, or dominant in the earth elements. And depending on which one you're dominant in, it'll make you primarily a Vata constitution, which is air, a Pitta constitution, which is fire, or a Kapha, which is the earth sign, or not sign, but physical constitution. It's not related to the zodiac. So depending on what your body type is based on the elements, if you were a Kapha sign, I would say I would give you a different recommendation than if you were a Vata or an air sign, different than if you were dominant Pitta. And real quick, it's also related to, I don't know if people know about the somatotypes. And the somatotypes is more of a modern science look at different body types. I don't remember the name of the individual who theorized it, but from what I read, I believe that the Guild of Scientists, other scientists of his time, they said they didn't think it to be a true theory. And so it's not like validated and agreed upon by all the scientists of this person's era or even
Yeah.
today. But in any case, the somatotypes they correlate directly to the three Ayurvedic body types. One is the ecto, endo, and mesomorphs. So ectomorph, mesomorph, sorry, ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. Ectomorph being people who are tall and skinny,
Mm.
very hard to put on weight, fast metabolism. Meso being in the middle, pitta fire body type. And the endo being like the earth body type. Earth body type being people who have trouble losing weight. For metabolism, typically will end up with more body weight and have a very hard time getting it off.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for breaking that down because I was about to ask you, like, how do you tell which is which and what do you have to use in each one?
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
thank you for breaking that down for me. So, we got a few more questions before we get off of here. But what is one thing that you've learned throughout this whole process about yourself?
What is one thing I've learned? Let me think for a second. I feel like I've learned that I'm truly capable of achieving anything that like I put my mind to, anything that I want to achieve. It shows me that limits are more mental than they are physical.
Yeah.
It taught me that it's like people in our lives, sometimes, a lot of times, the thing that we fear the most is the thing that is going to be the most impactful on our growth. And I've learned that, through the process of, you know, fitness training and calisthenics, I learned that a lot of times we want to retreat when we need to advance. The fear makes us want to retreat, but you only have the breakthroughs when you advance through the fear when you need to.
Okay. And fear is an interesting thing because fear stops us from multiple different opportunities.
Mm,
Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of
mm,
letting go.
yes,
It's interesting that fear it's always there no matter where you're at. It's some
mm,
type of fear that you have to let go to get through.
yeah. And so now it's almost like the mechanism for me now is like when I feel that pit in my stomach and I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to do it. I'm like, snap, I gotta do it now.
Yeah.
Snap, I gotta do it now. Like even the competition, I said to myself, man, I know I need to show up, but man, I could really just sit at home and be afraid and not go. But then I said, once I have that happen, once I say, man, once I start to be like my mind starts to want to make an excuse why I don't want to do it or why I don't want to
Mhm.
go. Mm-mm. All right, you got to do it now. Or
Yeah.
licks. Licks.
Nice. So
No
if someone's
excuses for that.
yeah, no excuses. You gotta have that mindset and becoming the version of yourself you want to be. So, if someone's watching this episode right now and they're wondering how to get started and work out or wondering what to do next, what is some type of advice that you would give to inspire them to get started, to get moving today?
Number one is start small. Don't think you have to be extravagant or start huge. Baby steps. Excuse me. Calisthenics is working with your body weight. Baby steps. Start. Don't talk about next week, next month, next year. You can do whatever you're capable of. Start. If you can do push-ups, if you can do sit-ups, if you have a pull-up bar, and then when you need get to the point where you have questions or you hit a wall, I'm here, and there are hundreds and thousands of other athletes and trainers out there who you can ask the questions. You might not always get the right answer, but once you're seeking, you will eventually find the right answer. And so you have to, I would say, go look at my page, look at one of the crazy things that I did, take a match and light it, and let that be your passion. Let it start, light your passion. You have to become passionate about it. Otherwise, you're not going to go far. You have to ignite your passion like a match, like a fire, and then let it keep burning. That's what you got to do.
Nice. I like it. So,
Thank you.
one of my last two questions is what is a silent fear that you've been going through, silent fear or challenge that you've been going through, and nobody knows you've been battling with it, but you still show up every day, do the work and work out, do whatever it takes to get to the next level?
I guess I will have to say, and this is a deep, silent fear, and I think that it's rooted in my passion and what drives me as well. And that silent fear would be I would say the fear of unworthiness, of not being good enough, of not being enough for the world, for who or whatever I'm supposed to show up to be. And I think that it's definitely a silent fear because I think that in our community where we come from, I think you and I both know that we are, as young men, we are essentially reestablishing a generation in many ways. You know, if we have children and our children get to create an unbroken lineage where they can say they know Grandpa Sammy or they know Grandpa Ballet from 4 generations ago, that will be a blessing
Yeah.
because we can't say the same,
I could relate to that. Yeah. I've never met my grandparents.
you know? So it's deep, but yeah, that silent fear is connecting to unworthiness, but it's it's almost like having to make yourself worthy and show the world that actually, yeah, you are worthy and we are worthy. And, we as individuals, we as a community, we as Black men, we can take the torch, we can take the mantle, and we can pass the torch. But
Yeah.
I think that where there are so many cultural, social dynamics at play that we fight against, um, that you know, we kind of we have to be very tactful in the way that we address the world
Yeah.
in order to achieve our goals because we are already perceived as threats as we are.
Uh-huh.
You understand? And so it's almost like the man in the mirror. You know, the fear is facing the man in the mirror and, actually learning to love them. That's the main reason why um, we might receive negative energy or fight from our brothers and sisters or even our community because the only reason why our brother or sister would fight against us, I believe, is because when you look at yourself in the mirror and you see the image of a you, a me, and we're almost looking at ourselves. But if you don't believe in yourself and you see another man doing what you don't believe you can do, what are you going to do? You're going to try to break him down so
Mhm.
you can feel okay. So you have to first believe that you can do it. You have to first believe that because if you don't believe that, you're going to look at someone like me and you're just going to hate me from the bottom of your guts for no reason.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe eventually you're going to say, wow, this guy is showing us what we can be capable of. But we don't believe in ourselves enough to get there. And so my greatest fear, I guess, is that, maybe somehow in the end, that message won't be conveyed, but I think that I've made so many breakthroughs and personally, I know that I am beyond worthy.
Yes.
And so, so worthy that I no longer want to prove myself. So worthy that unfortunately I walk away,
Yeah.
before I bow.
And to get to that point is not easy because a lot of people are walking around thinking they're not good enough for whatever reason,
Mm,
whether it's their family members, their wife, their husband, whatever reason, because that's one of the things that comes up in therapy the most. I'm not good enough.
mm,
It's an interesting place to be, and bringing somebody out of that place is an interesting place because
yes,
they have to find their power and know that
yes.
within them they have everything they need to be the man or woman they're called to be.
Yeah. And maybe that's why I am a personal trainer because now I inspire people. I show people that, and I share my energy positively to motivate and to inspire them and to show them that, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can stay motivated,
Yeah.
and in a sense, I think that I do find achievement or fulfillment in that reflection, in the reflection of helping others.
Yeah.
And my only hope is that, one day closest to me can see the same and feel the same, because unfortunately a king isn't always honored in his own kingdom.
So, yeah. So, would you say that you're walking in your purpose right now?
I would say so. I would say that I'm walking in my most authentic purpose that I never perceived or saw or thought I would be walking.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, I got one more question for you and we're going to get out of here. But I
No
just want to
pressure.
thank you for coming on here, sharing your heart, sharing your story, sharing your thoughts, your beliefs, your fears, and just inspiring the world to be the best version of themselves. So, thank you for
Thank
that,
you.
too.
You know, I, hmm,
Right. So, say, how can people connect with you and get your information on social media or wherever?
Yep, they can find me online. I have YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And my tag is at king underscore cut underscore elite. No special spelling. And you're welcome to follow me, reach out to me. If you're interested in training, you can shoot me a message if you're local. If you are interested in online training, nutrition coaching, or learning about Ayurvedic body type and how to select the best food for your body type, or just learn as a novice, total beginner, fitness, calisthenics, please reach out at any of those channels.
Nice. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Bale, again, thank you for coming on here and sharing your heart. If you resonate with this episode, whether it's him talking about yoga, talking about his life, anything that resonates with you, go ahead and like and share your comment, share your insight about what happened, what you resonate with, and how this has benefited you. So go ahead, jump down in the comment section, and we're gonna see you on our next episode of Be Inspired Podcast, where we're inspiring you to live the abundant life you deserve. So go ahead, like, share, and comment, and we'll see you on next week. Take care, everybody. Peace out.